Baby. I'm off work on New Year's Eve. I got off work early and accidentally sent that message to the company group chat. By the time I got home, the group had blown up. Colleagues were all joking around and chiming in with a chain. Baby me. I didn't dare open my eyes, hoping it was just a hallucination. Late at night, my usually aloof boss, James, actually blocked me at my door, eyes red, and demanded, "Does he give you health benefits and a retirement plan too? Plus a year-end bonus?" We'd been rushing a year-end project, pulling nearly 2 weeks of all-nighters. Thought the heartless boss would steal our time on New Year's Eve too. But it seemed like the slave-driving boss had a change of heart when HR announced we could leave at 3 p.m. I almost couldn't believe my ears. What? That boss who only assigns work and treats employees like robots actually let us off early. Had hell frozen over. Right after the message went out in the company group chat, cheers erupted in the office. I grabbed my bag and bolted, mainly worried the boss might regret it or HR had sent the wrong message. No time to waste. My best friend Lily had originally planned to ring in the new year with me tonight. But when she saw how swamped I'd been at work, she turned around and said she'd find someone else. I was so annoyed. But now I was free. So I tapped quickly on my phone screen and cheekily typed, "Baby. I'm off work." The elevator doors opened, and without checking the chat, I sent it and stuffed my phone in my pocket. After a while, Lily hadn't replied. I opened my phone to look, but when I checked our chat, I didn't see my message though. The company group chat was blowing up with new notifications. It felt cursed, with dozens of messages already. So I just muted it. Those people were probably sucking up to the boss again. Out of sight, out of mind. Seeing no message in my chat with Lily, I didn't overthink it. I was in the elevator, so maybe there was no signal. Anyway, I knew where Lily was, so I headed straight to her. Lily runs a bar, and at this hour, it was quite perfect for dropping by. I flagged down a taxi and said, "Driver, to Clear Rain Bar." Not noticing a group of people walking out of the office nearby. Ooh la la. Looks like Emily's living it up. Passion bar. Huh. So sweet. She must be meeting her boyfriend. Emily hid it so well, dating, and didn't even tell us. They teased as they walked, oblivious to the increasingly gloomy, hurt face behind them. When I got to Lily's bar, she was still fast asleep and looked at me like she'd seen a ghost. OMG. "Did you quit?" I pouted. "Got off early." She gave me an incredulous look. Wow. Pigs might fly. But then, thinking about my boss looks, her tone softened. "Look at it this way. With a face like your boss, if you worked at my bar, business would boom. Seeing someone that handsome every day makes a little exploitation worth it." Lily hadn't brought up looks. I wouldn't have remembered why I was so obsessed with joining the company in the first place. Back in the day, I was a fresh grad, a total rookie, and the company was a startup. When I went for the interview, the whole place had just one person, boss James. Even the office was a cramped, under 30 square meter show unit. The moment I stepped in, I had zero hope for the company and almost skipped the interview. What stopped me was James' face. No exaggeration. James' face and build were hotter than any guy I'd ever seen. As a naive young woman, I ended up staying for the interview, but back then, I wasn't crazy enough to ignore my livelihood for a pretty face. The place was a dump, and I worried about my future until James gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. He'd handle outside sales and pay me. The best part, James promised me health benefits and a retirement plan. So I stepped onto a path of no return. At first, James really did run sales and pay me. For a long time, it was just him and me at the company. He was the boss, plus HR, plus sales rep, plus accountant. I am a cleaner and meal ordering employee. During those 3 months, James spent very little time in the company. Basically, 80% of the time he was out running business. Yes. After 3 months at the company, I wasn't even very clear about what the company's business actually was, especially being alone guarding a 30 square meter office. I felt like I was being scammed. I always felt that the way things were developing shouldn't be like this, just when I was about to pack up and run away. James came back with his achievements, only then did I learn what the company's business actually was. And I also learned that James had secured a big order during those 3 months, directly reviving the company. From then on, I started a proper grind of a life. Or rather, looks can be deceiving. If I hadn't been dazzled by appearance from the start, why would I now be living a 9-to-9 life at such a young age? Don't get me wrong. Normally it's 9 to 6. But basically we have to work overtime until 9 p.m. Although now, James gives quite a few perks for overtime. But you can't expect someone to work like a dog forever. I still miss the early days when the company was just starting. That was my ideal life. By the way, is your mom going to set you up on blind dates again this new year? Lily's voice interrupted my recollection. I nodded helplessly. Yes. And even though it's still a while until New Year, my queen has already scheduled my blind dates fully packed. And she even made a PPT for me. Otherwise, why don't you just pick someone from here to go home and pretend to be your boyfriend? That Lily is totally unreliable. We agreed to celebrate New Year's Eve together, but the bar was slammed tonight, and she ditched me when I reached the downstairs of my home. I opened my phone and glanced at it unintentionally. I caught a glimpse of the company group chat with 99+ messages, although I had set it to do not disturb. The mentions were read, "Why are so many people me?" I casually clicked into the company group chat message box. Wow. As soon as I entered, it showed that 99 people had me. For some reason, I had a very bad feeling. Probably, maybe, perhaps, maybe. No way. When I scrolled to the top of the messages, my world collapsed. Completely collapsed. I had sent the message meant for Lily to the company group chat, the one with over 500 people in it. In that instant, I felt all the blood in my body freeze. My face flushed rapidly, and even my back started to heat up in the cold wind, seeing the messages from colleagues in the group. My world collapsed for the second time. Hey babe, I'm off work babe. I'm off work too babe. I'm home Emily babe. Are you home yet? Babe, the laughter in the group was so loud it was blinding. At this moment, I finally understood why there were so many messages in the group chat when I came out of the elevator. Only I had clicked in to take a look. It wouldn't have come to this, having lived for 27 years. And now, no dignity left. I took a deep breath and couldn't help but cover my face. Heaven probably thought it wasn't chaotic enough, so it added more trouble for me. While covering my face, my nose touched the screen, and I sent a shy emoji in the group. The usually not very active company group chat. Now for some reason, the moment after I sent the emoji, someone quickly replied with a message. Hey babe, finally looked at the phone. Babe, are you home yet? Damn it. This time, it was too late to quickly retract the message. A group of people started frantically tagging me in the group chat again. Dear God. Do they want me to die? The dignity I've guarded for half my life was completely humiliated at this moment. Just after stepping out of the elevator, I found someone squatting in front of my door. The weather was quite cold, and the person squatting there wore a hat that covered half their face. So I instinctively took 2 steps back thanks to James. Over the years, I bought this house outright, and it's an elevator per household layout. So there's no chance of anyone getting lost. This person was definitely here for me. I wanted to press the elevator button silently, but the sound of the door opening was loud, and the person at my doorstep slowly raised their head. My heart was in my throat, and my mind raced through countless possibilities in that instant, but obviously, I wasn't prepared enough. I never expected that the person squatting there would be James, and a drunk James at that. When James looked up at me, the grievance in his eyes was almost overflowing, probably from squatting too long. He was unsteady when he stood up, almost falling to the side. I instinctively supported him, but didn't expect James to lean against me. I smelled the alcohol on him, perhaps from drinking. Not only was his face red, but his eyes were bloodshot, especially when he looked at me, as if conveying endless grievance. Like I'd done something unforgivable. James isn't a light person. His 6'1" height pressing down on me was really deadly, almost lost my balance. And it took a great effort to prevent both of us from falling. James, what are you doing here? Hearing my voice, James became even more aggrieved. His nose turning red, his voice was full of grievance. Somewhat accusatory. Does he also give you comprehensive benefits and year-end bonuses? Me. Huh. Will he also give you an $18,000 New Year's cash bonus? Is he as handsome as me? After saying that last sentence, James leaned against me and fell asleep. Honestly, looking at James' face, I really wanted to throw him out. But although he's ruthless, he's never been a stingy boss, so I still dragged him inside with great difficulty. It was the first time I'd seen James drunk. Even though we've worked together for several years, his alcohol tolerance has always been good. He never got this drunk during business negotiations before. I am a bit curious what on earth set James off. And what he said was really strange. Who gave me comprehensive benefits and year-end bonuses? Does James think another company is poaching me? Damn it. Who is trying to harm me? No matter how hard I racked my brain, I never imagined that this year's New Year's Eve would be spent with my slave-driving boss, and in such an undignified way. When James tried to climb onto my bed again, I couldn't take it anymore. I sat up in bed, hands on my hips, and scolded him. James, don't push it too far. I've already taken you in, but this bed is not for you. Drunk James couldn't understand human speech. Just like when he's sober, I pushed him off the bed, but he persistently tried to climb back up. A deep sense of helplessness enveloped my heart back then. Lily advised me to buy a house with a guest bedroom, but I didn't listen. Now the boomerang has hit me right in the forehead. James reached out and pulled me down from the bed too, just as I was about to lose my temper. I saw James fumbling in his coat pocket. Some inappropriate thoughts popped into my head again. James isn't going to do something to me, is he? Even though we've known each other for so many years, James has always been a gentleman, never making me drink during business talks. In fact, several times at the company, I've seen people confess to him, and he always refused seriously, maintaining a strictly professional attitude throughout. Logically, he should be a decent person, but he couldn't help being drunk now. The hand gripping my waist was incredibly strong, and I struggled for a while without breaking free. My heart sank. No way. Could my luck really be this bad? Just as I was mentally figuring out what to do next, James finally fished his phone out of his pocket. I swear, I really didn't mean to look at James' phone when I opened Messenger. I caught a glimpse of the pinned contact. It was actually me. The next second, James skillfully opened our chat window, and my phone started ringing. James sent several money transfers in one go. Seeing the screen full of transfer notifications, even the arm James had wrapped around my aching waist started to look handsome. A good workhorse knows not to interrupt the boss when he's focused. With so many transfer messages, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. To prevent James from taking back the money the next day, I turned on the camera and pointed it at him, clearing my throat. I tried hard to hide my joy, pretending to be anxious and helpless. James, stop sending them. James, really, stop with the money transfers. Taking care of you while you're drunk is an honor for me. Don't need to send so many. James paused his hand. Seriously, I told you to stop, and you actually did. He looked up at me with a bright smile, his words a bit slurred. Emily likes it. I was so dazzled by the screen full of transfers that I completely missed how James' words seemed a bit off. That night, I naturally let James sleep in my soft, fragrant bed, for no other reason than worrying about my charming boss' frail body. The floor was too cold, the couch too small, totally unworthy of his status. I curled up on the sofa, grinning from ear to ear as I checked my messenger balance and couldn't stop laughing, but I forgot I have a terrible sleeping habit. I always get up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, half asleep and groggy after leaving the bathroom. I went straight back to the bedroom, the moment I slipped under the covers. I thought the bed felt extra warmer then. I fell asleep even faster opening my eyes. I saw James propping his head up, staring at me, which scared me awake instantly. After 3 seconds, it finally hit me. Me and James were lying in the same bed. Before I could react, James reacted even more strongly. It was the first time I'd seen such an expression on James' face: nervous, embarrassed, confused, self-doubting, and shy. He cleared his throat, hesitating to speak, then starting again. Dude. What's with that coy expression? I quickly explained the whole situation to James, but his look at me grew stranger and stranger, until finally, his eyes darkened. I am sorry. I forgot you've already. He seemed to think of something else, threw off the covers, and got out of bed. His words left me utterly confused, but James didn't seem to want to pursue the money transfer thing from last night. So I breathed a huge sigh of relief. After New Year's Day, everyone at the company noticed James' temper had gotten even worse than before this morning. Everyone who went in to report on projects got chewed out one by one. My heart sank. My colleague didn't even have time to tease me about sending the wrong message earlier. Just looked at me sympathetically. I remember. Don't you have a project to report to James later? I nodded with a sinking heart. She gave me a good luck emoji and then quickly moved 2 meters away from me. Great. This unreliable person. I stood in front of James' office for a long time, not daring to knock. Today, James' temper was unimaginably bad. If he really got angry at me, that would be manageable. But what I feared was that if he was in a bad mood now, he might ask me to return the bonus he sent me the day before yesterday. That's over $60,000. After being nervous for a long time, I finally knocked on the office door. Come in, James said. Indeed. Just as other colleagues had said, he was radiating an unhappy aura. I kept a distance from him and spoke very carefully, afraid that if I made him unhappy, he would ask for the money back. Mr. Taylor, the South City project proposal. James suddenly looked up at me, and probably my eyes were playing tricks on me, but his gaze actually seemed somewhat resentful. What are you standing so far away for? Come here. For some reason, I felt a bit strange when I reported work in James' office before. I didn't have this feeling. I guess it because we slept together the night before last. Moreover, the way James looked at me was increasingly strange. I felt a bit uncomfortable and wanted to sneak away from the office. Just as I took 2 steps back, I saw James stand up from his seat. He slowly approached me, lowered his voice, as if he had mustered up courage. Emily, haven't I been good enough to you? My heart skipped a beat. This tone, this rhetoric. He couldn't be about to fire me, could he? I smiled obsequiously. How could that be? Mr. Taylor, you've been incredibly kind to me. James stared into my eyes for a long moment, then finally said, since that's the case, do you understand what I mean? I was baffled, but whatever the boss says goes. I composed myself and said, understood. James finally smiled, taking advantage of his good mood. I slipped out of the office, the sweat on my forehead almost dripping off. James is different from before. He's changed. He's become perverted. What the hell do I understand? After reflecting on it for a long time, I finally figured something out, combined with what James said after getting drunk last time. He must have misunderstood that I was going to jump ship to another company. And now, this is blatantly testing me. Although James has been exploiting me at work, the compensation he gives me is really good logically. As his first employee, I've been working diligently all these years. He shouldn't suspect me. My gaze scanned around the company. Could it be that the things I said criticizing James reached James' ears? Just who is that bitch who dared to harm me? Tonight is the company annual dinner. The company has grown. The annual dinner has been getting better and better. This year's annual dinner is being held at a 5-star hotel. And we can even stay and play there for 2 days and 1 night. I am not very interested in the events of the annual dinner. But the hotel food is really good. The earlier segments of the annual dinner are long and tedious. I'm more curious about who will win the final grand prize, however. The raffle is usually saved for last. So I basically spent the whole time with my head buried in eating, until cheers erupted. And everyone looked at me. Even James on stage not far away was looking at me, awkwardly wiped the oil from the corner of my mouth. A colleague excitedly said, "Emily, you won the prize." My eyes instantly lit up. Won a prize? Was it the latest smartphone or computer? A 3-day trip to Sonia? Or maybe some overseas vacation? With my face full of anticipation, my colleague slowly said, "You've been picked by James for dinner together tonight." Ha! Screw this prize. What's wrong? Are you so happy you're confused? She lowered her voice, leaned in close, and whispered, "This is a special exception only for this year's annual dinner, from what I know. James doesn't have a girlfriend yet." She hinted too obviously. I twitched the corner of my mouth and didn't respond. In the end, I still sat down to eat with James. The dishes on his table looked a bit tastier than mine. And just as I was about to start eating, a few messages popped up on my phone. It was Lily. "Baby, I heard you're having the annual dinner at a 5-star hotel this time. Pack some dishes for me. Will you? Mwah, you know I love that kind of thing. Love you. Baby," I quickly replied with 2 messages and stuffed my phone into my pocket. James, who had just been wearing a friendly expression, looked at me with a hint of being wronged. Before I could say anything, James picked up the wine from the table and poured it into his mouth. Nervously rubbed my hands together. What exactly did James mean by that look before he drank? Wronged? Even a bit of resentment. Like had been abandoned after a casual affair. I must be crazy. Was it really right for such an expression to appear on James' face? Seeing he seemed in a bad mood, I didn't want to invite trouble. The cardinal rule for a hard worker is never to inquire about things you shouldn't, so I tried to minimize my presence, even eating as quietly as possible. To James, on the other hand, didn't touch any dishes from start to finish. He just drank alone gloomily the whole time. I pondered it didn't seem like this earlier. By the time the final segment rolled around, James had already drunk quite a bit. And even the boss speech on stage was cancelled. I watched him sitting silently and glanced at the full table of dishes. Finally, I couldn't hold back. I cleared my throat and cautiously looked at James. He caught my gaze. And in that moment of eye contact, I actually felt a twinge of guilt. With just that one look, James' expression softened a bit, and his tone carried a hint of expectation. He leaned back in his chair. "What? Have something to say to me?" I nodded. "James, if you're not going to eat this food, can I pack it up?" I had totally misjudged James. He was no Scrooge. When he found out I wanted to take leftovers, he simply stopped drinking, stood up, and walked straight out. I was so touched I got teary-eyed. James, he is a good person. For the final raffle draw of the annual dinner, there were 3 big prizes, besides being picked by James for dinner together. I didn't win a single one of the other 3 major awards. Instead, the colleague who had initially envied me for getting to dine with James won the grand prize of a 3-day trip to Sonia. Another colleague I got along well with won a voucher for 8,888 yuan bonus. Only me, carrying a bag of takeout boxes, watched them and shed tears of envy. They were overjoyed. James had spent a fortune on this year's annual dinner. 10 third prizes, 5 second prizes, and 3 first prizes. Downstairs was filled with colleagues' cheers. Listening, I felt my heart shatter into pieces. So I quietly sneaked away back to my room. Just as I stepped out of the elevator, I saw a very familiar scene. There seemed to be someone squatting in front of my room again. This time, I could see the person's face clearly. James. Does he have a habit of squatting in front of my room whenever he drinks? Is this some new way of drunken antics? Moreover, The floor where James lives doesn't seem to be the same as mine. So it doesn't make sense for him to accidentally end up at my room door, James. Hearing that, he stood up this time. His eyes were even redder than last time. And his heartbroken expression made me wonder if I had done something terribly wrong to make him so upset. James, are you okay? As I got closer, James leaned in, his chin resting on my shoulder. His warm breath making my neck tickle as he spoke. I instinctively shrank back. James, you're drunk. Let me take you back to your room. He took the opportunity to wrap his arm around my waist, and I frantically tried to push him away. No. If colleagues from the company saw us like this, even if nothing happened, it would surely be rumored that something did. Remembering how much effort it took last time to drag James from outside my door into my home, I thought taking him back to his room seemed unrealistic, truly worried that a colleague might come upstairs suddenly. I quickly pulled James into my room, who knew that as soon as I closed the door. James turned around and pinned me against the back of the door. His bloodshot eyes stared at me. Leave that man. I'll agree to any condition. Didn't you promise me you would leave that man? Didn't you understand what I meant? He sniffled, tears welling up in his eyes. You lied to me. No. Huh? What on earth is James talking about? I thought of a possibility that sounded terrifying, combining all the signs from James. He might actually like me. Suddenly, I remembered accidentally seeing James' pinned contact on WhatsApp.at that time. I was so excited by the red envelopes that I completely forgot about it, but now, looking back, I feel a bit uneasy about it. Moreover, last time James came to my home, it also seemed unreasonable. I know where James lives. It's practically in the opposite direction from my home. And yet he appeared so precisely at my doorstep, with a one elevator per household layout. It was such a coincidence that he ended up at my door. This time was the same. There are so many people in the company, so many rooms, yet it was the drunk James who appeared at my room door again. Just thinking about this possibility, I find it hard to believe myself. I tried to push the person in front of me away, but James' hand on my shoulder was like iron, immovable. He showed a hurt expression and said again, Emily, you lied to me. Him crying like that was truly irresistible. After all, I am a normal person with a sense of aesthetics. Honestly, it's hard not to be moved by James' face. I freed one hand to wipe James' face. Although I felt sorry for him, when did I ever lie to him? This is slander. No matter how good-looking he is, he can't slander me. When did I lie to you? He said in a muffled voice. Last time. You said you understood what I meant. Last time. Could it be that time he criticized me? Oh my God. James is speaking in riddles with me. Even my own thoughts aren't that in tune with him. Can't you be more direct? My brain might not understand. He pouted, looking like he was about to cry, just as I thought James was going to do something. He suddenly fell backward. James was fine. He just fell asleep, but now I couldn't sleep. The hotel room was large, and I leaned on the sofa, sending a message to Lily. Lily on the other end let out a sharp scream after reading it. What? You said James likes you. Me. Probably. Maybe. Then we rehashed the whole night. In the end, I was brainwashed by Lily. And now I feel James is deeply in love with me. Lily said James and I have a bond forged through struggles. Was his first employee at the company, accompanying him step by step, and after her reminder, I suddenly noticed that James treats me differently from others. James indeed sends me money every year. Not just for New Year's Eve and Spring Festival, but for almost all reunion holidays except the Tomb Sweeping Festival. Many people at the company have told me James treats me specially. But I always thought it was because I'm his most obedient workhorse. But now, I genuinely feel James should have been completely won over by my charisma. I am a bit confused. Lily across from me, seeing I didn't reply, kept sending messages. Where are you? Seriously. With your boss face. What are you hesitating for? My fingers twisted together. Lily doesn't understand. After being a workhorse for so many years, facing James' face, I can't bring myself to kiss him. Being with the boss. How terrifying would that be? Coming home from work and seeing him. Wouldn't it feel like a servant serving the master? No way. Absolutely not. I was shaken awake by James in my sleep. His opening words were a critical hit. Emily, I like you. I want to compete fairly with your boyfriend. I must not be awake. I tugged at my messy hair. And because I slept too late last night, the dark circles under my eyes were especially deep, contrasting sharply with James, who had washed up and looked fresh. Where did I get a boyfriend? When he spoke, he was squatting in front of me, his eyes sparkling. I silently pulled the covers over me. Even so, now is really not a good time to say this. Who in their right mind shakes someone awake to confess? I pushed him away and walked to the bathroom. When I saw myself in the mirror, I was sure James truly loved me, having barely slept all night. My skin was in terrible shape, the dark circles under my eyes heavy. I end summary. Not a beauty. When I came out again, wherever I went, James followed. I cleared my throat, feeling I needed to first clarify my relationship with Lily to James, but before I could speak, James showed an expression of understanding. I get it. You're really in a bind right now. He quickly pulled out his phone and sent me money. I don't have many virtues, but I've made a lot of money these years. If you're with me, you don't have to bring food for me from the hotel. Eat whatever you want. Saying this, he sent several money transfers, although it's a bit immoral. I don't want you to be with anyone else for even a day. I stopped James' action. I don't have a boyfriend. James was overjoyed, paused for a moment, and then sent me several more money transfers. I was a bit puzzled. I don't have a boyfriend, yet you're still sending me money. I'm thrilled. After last time when I sent a message to the group chat, I faced my second major socially awkward moment. As James left my room, he happened to be spotted by a colleague. I thought it was no big deal since only one person saw, but she was on a Kala video call. No less. Of all things, the camera was facing outward. That scene of James walking out was exposed in all its vivid detail. In that instant, my breath stopped. James didn't react much, though. He even calmly straightened his collar after watching James leave. My colleague noticed the dark circles under my eyes and tooted. You two had quite the exciting night. Oh, big mouth. Listen to my explanation. Unsurprisingly, the whole company knew about it by the next day, when I went to work on Monday. The probing stares were too many to count until a close colleague quietly asked, I thought you had a boyfriend. Why are you with James? Now everyone's discussing it. After explaining the situation with Lily, a day later when I arrived at the office, everyone looked at me differently. The day before, their glances held a bit of disdain, but now they were giving me knowing, motherly smiles, even when handing materials over to me in James' office. Their matchmaking intentions were obvious. I steeled myself and walked into James' office. And as soon as I entered, colleagues behind me got excited. Hee hee. So sweet. I'm shipping them so hard. James looked up, stood, and slowly walked toward me. Have you made a decision? James. The first think it's a bit too fast. It's not a spur-of-the-moment thing. I've liked you for a long time. Emily, we've been together for almost 5 years, and I've liked you for all 5. Under James' smoldering gaze, I practically fled and panicked. I couldn't pinpoint what was off, but I just wanted to escape. After zoning out while staring at James' office again, I realized I couldn't just sit idly by. So I quietly applied for annual leave with HR. Having been at the company for years, my leave was quite long. Plus, with the whole James situation known company-wide, HR quickly approved my leave. I packed my bags and became one of the first to head home for the holidays. Sure enough, the farther I got from the office and James, the less I thought about him, but I forgot that my mom had arranged way too many blind dates for me. 2 days ago, I met a creepy guy. Yesterday, a pretentious one. And today, of all things, Someone with an even more overbearing attitude than my dad's, after rejecting over a dozen blind dates. My mom couldn't hold back. Emily, what kind of guy do you actually like? I'll note it down to find the right match. What kind? I instinctively said. He has to be handsome, generous to me, respectful, and most importantly, rich. Saying that, I unexpectedly thought of James. Why mom's expression was indescribable. She probably thinks I'll never get married, since my standards were too high and suitable matches were rare. The blind dates paused for a few days. I thought she'd given up on the idea, but last night, she excitedly told me she'd found someone who absolutely met all my criteria. Today, she even dolled me up for it. I didn't believe her. She'd praised the overbearing guy as if he walked on water. I think my mom's judgment is off, but I couldn't resist her insistence. So I went to the address she gave for the meeting, entering the restaurant. I scanned the room and only saw a back view by the window. After confirming the table number, I walked toward him with the idea of finishing things quickly. I walked very fast until I saw that person's face clearly. I froze in place. James. The person I was having a blind date with was James. James stood up and reached out his hand to me. Emily. Hello. I am your blind date. James. I was a bit flustered. How did you end up here? I went to Rain Bar and found Lily. James stood up from across, slowly came to my side, and squatted down beside me, looking at me from a lower position. His words made me feel exposed. Emily, actually you like me too. Right. If you really didn't like me, you would have directly refused. Not run away secretly alone. I cursed Lily hundreds of times in my heart. How could she tell my secret to James? It wasn't Lily who said it. After working together for so many years, I know you better than you think. He looked up at me. I'm good looking. I can give you all the money from my family. I respect you a lot. And most importantly, I'm very rich. James reached out and grabbed my wrist, placing it on himself. Also, I have a great body. He pulled my hand and rubbed it on his abs, even through the clothes. I could feel the outline of his abs. The earlier part might not have been taught by Lily, but this was definitely taught by her. My face flushed red. I wanted to pull back my hand, but lust overcame reason. Then I'll reluctantly try. James showed a bright smile. Just like that night when he looked up at me, his eyes sparkling. He held the back of my head, and his lips gently covered mine. Only by trying like this will you know. Just as I imagined. After getting off work and returning home, it was indeed like a servant serving the king, only I was the king. If I had known James had this side earlier, I would have conquered him years ago. It's like missing out on billions. James' hand, feeding me grapes, paused. I opened my eyes and looked at him. What's wrong? James turned over and pressed me down. Emily is full now. It's my turn.